Hey guys, this is John, and I'm playing Alga in the 3-minute pool on ICC. It has been over a month since I last played on ICC, so I figured this is a good time to fire it up. This is going to be a pretty short video. I gotta be somewhere in under half an hour, so let's try to make the most of this. My opponent is playing the Nimzovich Sicilian, knight f6 on move 2. Not a bad line at all. Kinda underrated in my opinion. I'm just feeling my way through this position. Here, I wonder if I can take on d5. I think that might run into queen b6. If I recall. But you know what? I think that line might be okay for me. Now he plays d6 right away. Interesting. Okay. So I'm going to pin black. But then I run into queen a5 checks. Let's not do that. I'm going to play bishop d3. This is a bit conservative. I am allowing black to win back the pawn, but I have a feeling if I take, black is going to get some active play, and I would like to make Alga think in this position, because it looks like they're just whipping off theoretical moves so far. This is part of my quest to play more e4 games. Those of you who are King's Pawn players, you probably noticed that I've been playing this more often lately. Nice tricky move there. If I play bishop d2, there's bishop takes f2. So probably I have to go king f1 here. As much as I would dislike moving my king as I just did. Alright, so now he develops. Let's play queen e4. I am still up a pawn, but undoubtedly my king's safety is in question. Even playing g3 and king g2 might be tricky because black always has bishop h3. Now I'm thinking of developing this bishop, or maybe bishop g5. Leaning towards bishop g5, that seems to make more sense. Get the bishop out with tempo. If bishop d2, black was going to play queen b6, hitting f2 and b2. So at least now I get to bring this out and attack the rook. How to deal with black's play? I can take here on d6. Bishop takes back most likely. Kind of an open position, though. Bishop c4, looking to swap a bit. Not that enticing. I think I'm going to take and hope for the best. I don't see any devastating discoveries that black has, like bishop h3 I can deal with. Bishop takes a2 I'm not worried about, of course. Yeah, black just opts to take back. Now I think I should move the queen. So maybe queen h4. Get that out of the way. Still up the pawn. Bishop d2 or bishop f4. Bishop f4, there's g5, so that's not so appealing. Let's go bishop d2. My opponent has a big lead on the clock. Take. Take or c3. c3 is weakening. Don't like c3. But I might have to avoid the trade. If I take, knight takes, I also don't like that. So what am I to do here? Okay, let's take, though. Let's try it. Takes with the queen. That is surprising. That is very surprising. Okay, I'm going to take and then play bishop e2. Maybe bishop e5 is also good there. If knight takes c2, I have rook c1, importantly. I do not think black should have traded queens. I was expecting knight takes b4. Now we got to hustle up. I'm down over a minute. But I have some reasons to be optimistic here. Let's play knight d4, attack the bishop. Force that baby back. If knight d3, I think I'll just chop. I really like my knight on d4. Yeah, let's chop here. Play king g1. There's some temporary discomfort with my king, but how is black going to make anything out of this? King f2 coming. And he's just going to throw his kingside pawns, but I'm content to do this and just propose a trade. Let's pre-move that. We're up a nice pawn. Probably rook e3 coming next. I'm offering a trade of a pair of rooks. That's a good move. Okay, let's go here. Yeah, he had bishop d5 and bishop takes a2 in mind there, so I was just trying to keep my position together. Let's do this. I might want to reroute this knight. In fact, I think I'm going to do that. Bring the knight to f4. Let's see if he takes here, or if he pushes. He is not. Okay, let's go like this. See what we can get going with this trade. Knight takes h5, always a thing, but I don't want him to play rook h8 so quickly. Might go c6 next move and just push this pawn. Yeah, let's do that. Let's take here. I lose a2, though. Okay, maybe not so bad. Let's get the king up. Let's check. Play this back. Let's go here. He's really pressuring me on the clock, unfortunately. Allowing bishop takes, that's not good. Not good at all. Clock is a big problem right now. Let's get this over. Let's try to bring this up, maybe. I'm looking for some sort of mating net. I don't know if it's materializing, though. He's going to go towards that. Yeah, I think he can just queen here. Trying for rook b8, but I'm down too much at this point. No doubt. Okay, so we lose that game. He played off my time pressure nicely there. I thought I had good chances once the queens got swapped, but yeah, that time caught up with me. c6 was too little too late. I should have played c6 if I was going to do it right here on the previous move. Okay, so let's get back in there. I'm going to try to get in at least 2 more games, let's say, before I have to run. So I ran up against a line that I just don't have any experience in, or much experience, I should say. This Nimzovich Sicilian. Queen takes d5 is critical. I thought I remembered something with queen b6, attacking the pawn on f2, but maybe my memory is doing me a disservice. d6, on the other hand, I'm not so sure about. Let's just flick on the engine while we're waiting for the next game. See what the computer says. Computer says take the pawn, e takes d6, and it gives white an edge, but not a full pawn advantage, anything like that. Yeah, queen a5 was a nice move. That was a trappy move, because if I play bishop d2 here, I run smack dab into bishop takes f2, discovery on the queen, queen takes d5 coming next. So I had to play the uncomfortable king f1. I just burned a lot of time on the next few moves figuring out how to unwind. And black was not playing the best moves, but they were good enough. Yeah, I really thought knight takes b4 was coming here. Queen takes was a bit of a relief. But even still, I'm not out of the woods. White is just clinging to a marginal advantage. But once we got to this point, I feel like I'm much better. I'd be feeling very confident if I had more than, 30 seconds on the clock, something like that. But he did a good job of pressuring me, keeping it complicated. Bishop c4 was a nice move. Coming up right here. Attacking a2 and also threatening bishop d5. Because my king might be overloaded trying to defend both the rook on e3 and the pawn on g2. So I had to burn some valuable seconds finding this and then b3. Still up a pawn, but couldn't get the job done. Oh well. Okay, so You Won't Beat Me is the next opponent, 21-21. Let's play something different this time around. Knight f6. And let's go g6. Maybe a Grinfeld. In the spirit of mixing up my openings, let's try for a Grinfeld. Bishop g7. Usually white plays bishop f4, bishop to g5. Let's play c5. And if takes, I'm going to play queen a5. Not only threatening the pawn, but also looking for ideas like knight e4. And he just opts to try to trade. Somehow that doesn't seem dangerous. Knight c6, or now let's take first. Probably best. Now let's take here. He might just try to win the pawn back, e3, and bishop takes c4, but the knight is awkward. I can try to kick it back. Like bishop d7 right now makes a lot of sense. Let's do that. Kick the knight back to c3, and then maybe develop in a way where I can just try to recover this pawn. Like, let's say knight a6 now. Looks reasonable. Knight takes c5 coming. Okay, so that worked out to equality somehow. Not the most exciting Grunfeld position with an early trade of queens. But a normal-looking one. Just castle. I'd expect white to try to play down the d-file. Rook fd1, rook ad1. Maybe knight e5. If knight e5, I'm just going to play bishop e6 and propose a bishop trade. How about a6? a6 looks handy. Let's do that. Keep something out of b5. Maybe look to expand. Yeah, I might as well expand now. And I think I'm going to offer a trade of the light square bishops, now that I've gained some space on the queen side. Let's see if he takes me up on that offer. Now white probably wants to keep this bishop, so moving the bishop away would be expected. Knight back to d7, offer a trade. Yeah, let's do that. I like my knight on e6. Discourages white from playing knight d4, for one thing. I can send this knight to b6 and maybe into c4. Looks like a good basis for a plan. And he just looks for a straight swap. Yeah, can't blame him for that. Let's try to trade the rooks. Probably rook a d1 coming. You know, I'm going to keep one pair of rooks on the board. I could play rook d8 after this, but let's try to keep some more play. Play rook a7, look to swing the rook over to c7. Doing much better on time this time around. Looking for rook c2. Probably he'll go rook d2 to cover. Or that, yep. Okay, how about knight c5? Try to get my pieces working towards those queenside pawns. Try to attack b2. Knight a4 coming. So you're just going to allow that, because now if b3, I win with knight c3 check. So that might have been a mistake by white. Yeah, he's just going to lose a pawn. Rook c2 or take. Probably just take, huh? Yeah, let's take. Looks better. Now I'm thinking about rook here. It's threatening knight c4, so white might have to play king e1. Looks irritating for them. I can always bring the rook back to c6 if necessary. White does not have time to take this pawn on a6. So I think king e1 is forced, and then maybe knight d3 check. And then if king to d1, let's say rook back to c6, I'm threatening the pawn on f2. I'm also maybe threatening knight b2 check. Although the knight is on b2 already, so I don't know if throwing in that check matters much. I think white has to play king e1 here. But I like the fact that they're burning time figuring that out. Maybe it's even worth repeating one. So if king e1, maybe I'll just play rook here. Really? Okay, so this should just be a winning position for me after rook d8. I can just trade everything off. Maybe first I'll play king to f6. So rook d8, king f6, and the trade is coming. Rook takes d2. Yeah, he just resigned. So, instructive right there. White missing the knight c4 idea, after which white will be doomed to a losing endgame. Rook d8, I can swap off. I've got the extra pawn on the queen side. If he had played king e1, it's still a fight. He's much, much worse, but with the pressure on the a pawn, that could cause me some pain. If anyone knows the theory of this line, let me know. I'm going to check this in ChessBase later, but I think c5 is the proper reaction to this bishop f4 line. Could be wrong about that, but I've seen this idea numerous times. c5, d takes c5, queen a5, trying to apply pressure to the c3 point. Okay, let's get back in there. My rating plummeted because of that first round loss against Alga, but hey, it happens. I figured I might be a little bit slow after not playing 3-minute with no increment for a while. I have a feeling, by the way, that around here, let's say rook c7, I think white should pull the rook back to d2, just denying me the use of the second rank. And I still like my position, although black should not have anything more than equality if white defends accurately. Rook d2, maybe rook c1 check, king e2, knight c5. White will probably want to transfer their knight over to the queen side, knight d4 at some stage. I always had this mini plan in mind, knight c5 to a4, attack b2, but I don't believe it should be much. As played, after knight d2, knight a4, white is just losing this pawn. Maybe they intended b3, but then realized it would lose to the fork, knight c3 check. So, pretty clean endgame. I like to try to create problems for, and especially in a lower rated opponent, in this position after rook d8, rook d1, take. If I play rook d8, then the endgame is completely equal. King and knight versus king and knight after the swap of rooks. Equal number of pawns. Almost a symmetric pawn formation, too. So, by keeping one pair of rooks on the board, I maintain more fighting resources. there's more chances for both sides to go wrong. And when you're playing a lower rated player, you want to give them lots of chances to do that, because as the higher rated player, you're probably better at negotiating your way through complications. If you can present them with a position where they have many options, they're less likely to choose a good one than you are. That's the basic theory of keeping tension, keeping more pieces on board. I wonder if white could have made it difficult for me to recover the pawn somehow. I played bishop d7 here, knight c3. But after knight a6, it does seem like I'm just winning c5. Yeah, no way for white to defend. Okay, Porqueno is the next opponent. Sticking with the e4 theme, here we have a Pierce, unless it transposes to some other line. Let's play this line that I played in a standard game not long ago, this a3 variation, designed to encourage black to play c5 under bad circumstances, when I can take d takes c5, queen a5, and then b4. So yeah, black backs off of that. Do I want to play bishop d3 or knight f3 here? Let's play knight f3 first. Just control e5 a bit better. Okay, so now, yeah, I think I'm still going to take. Let's see if he plays queen a5. He just takes back. Okay, so let's swap. And if bishop e3, most likely black will play b6 to defend. And then I always have to worry about knight g4 issues. So let's play bishop c4 first. Target f7. Hold off on bishop e3 for now. e5. Is e5 a problem for black? Well, let's see. Let's see where their knight goes. Knight back to e8. Very passive. Okay, so let's do this now. Attack c5. Maybe I can work my pieces in somehow. Against this one, I was thinking about just castling. Castling queenside. If knight takes f3, they lose the rook on d8. So this pawn might be a goner. Ah, bishop g4. Good move. Good move by my opponent. Knight c5, knight d5 or e4 maybe. Now, but I got to do something about this first and foremost, huh? I can play bishop takes d4, right? Bishop takes d4. I guess bishop takes f3 in between move. Knight g5, probably a little too crazy. I feel like there might be something here, but I'm not seeing it. Not seeing it. So let's just play this and defend f3. That's probably a move I could have played faster. Once again, I'm down a minute on the clock. Okay. So he's going to try to build around this knight. If I take here, am I losing a piece? I very well might be. So let's... But he might have bishop h6 in mind. Nah, that's okay. I think I can always pull the knight back to e2 if necessary. I can't calculate what happens if bishop takes c5 right now, but it looks bad after rook c8, rook d to c8. Okay, let's go king here. Knight comes out. Knight d5 maybe? Yeah, let's try that. Want to make something of my bishop pair, but it's not going to be easy. e6, he plays f6. Let's go here. Just poke and prod a bit. Rook b8, I'm going to pull this bishop back to e4. Maybe bishop h6, though. Just nice and simple. Okay, let's take. And now I'm going to go bishop h4 and try to wrest control of the file away from him. Like so. Before this pawn becomes too much of an annoyance. Okay, maybe this now. Just playing for an endgame. He can play rook b7. Does not, though. He's going for the counterattack. Rook d7, rook e8, I think. Okay, let's bring this up. Now I'm going to try to make a beeline to e4 with my king. All the way up to e4. Let's see what he does about that. King g5. Okay. Let's go here. Maybe b4 next. or rook f6, but I'm not sure I want to allow rook d7. So probably b4 if nothing else changes. You guys ready for another time scramble endgame? That's what we're getting right here. Yeah, b4 I think is what I'm going to do next. Really? Huh. That move caught me by surprise. I was not sure how to react to that. It's probably a good move, too. Okay, gotta start pushing these passed pawns now. Let's go back here. That's annoying, though. No doubt. I don't know what to do. Yeah, now I'm losing, I think, again. Yeah. Lost this one. Yeah, game over. Ooh, brutal game. That was a nice move there, rook e6. Could not figure out what to do. Maybe I should play king d5. King d5 is probably the answer right there, right? King d5 and attack that rook on e6. And after that, if I play king d5, he can't really take. So he'd probably have to play back to rook e7 or e8. After which, maybe b4 then. Let me just check the computer real quick. Yeah, king d5 was the move, and I'm clearly better. I spent at least 5 seconds or so contemplating the endgame after rook takes e6, pawn takes, because then it's a case of almost mutual zugzwang. Neither king wants to move, because if his king moves first, then he would lose f4. But I think he out-tempos me, actually. Oh, no, he maybe doesn't. Yeah, but at any rate, king d5 was definitely the best move. Let's play one more game. I like the position I had here, but again, just too slow. Bishop g4 was not a move I saw. I should have seen that coming when I castled. I think if not for bishop g4, white is doing well because black is pinned here. But yeah, definitely should have seen this one coming, pinning the rook on d1. I responded with that. But now the problem is my f-pawns are double up. So they're kind of crippled. Knight f5, I played bishop back to f2. Yeah, I'm probably just not much better here, if at all. I thought this plan of playing bishop takes f5 and then bishop h4 was a pretty good one. Attacking d8, but I didn't get as much out of the rook endgame as I would have hoped. I'm controlling the only truly open file in the position, the d file, and I try to rush my king up. h4 came to mind right here, but I was worried that the g5 pawn would become weak, or even f3. If h4, h takes g5, h takes g5, rook h8, I thought maybe black could go down with the rook to h3 and attack this pawn, but the computer seems to like h4. Okay, pk15 is the final opponent. I'm going to have to call it a session after this. Let's play a King's Indian this time. Continue with the opening experimentation. Let's play e5, going for a main line. Knight c6. Do my best Nakamura impression. Hikaru, I need to channel you right now. Let's go knight d7, f5. Knight back here. I believe this is all theory. Goes for a quick d6. Okay. And let's just push those kingside pawns. Get those pawns rolling ASAP. I think I'm going to play rook f7. This is often a good prophylactic move, trying to defend the c7 square. After knight g6, you can play bishop f8 and reinforce this guy. Let's pre-move that move. Yeah, knight b5. So, ooh, okay. So if a6, is he going to go knight c7? Yeah, probably is. That means my last move might have been a mistake. Okay, well, let's go knight g6. I'm going to let him take a7 and try for as much play on the king side as possible. This is a time-consuming operation. Knight b5, knight takes a7. He's got to get the knight back out. Maybe I can get something going. Do I have rook takes a7 here? He takes on d7, though. Rook takes a7. Tempting, but maybe not quite working. Let's just keep pushing over here. And assuming he takes on d7, I'll probably take with the queen, I'm thinking. So as to deny him knight b5. For the time being. Plays a4. All right, well, let's go. g4. Now which way to take? Probably still take with the queen. Yeah, let's do that. Knight b5. Now it is difficult to defend this pawn, though. h4 or something else. h4. Yeah, h4 looks reasonable. Let's do it. I know he's going to get in here with his rook. But then I can play queen d8. Keep d6 covered at all costs, I think. Hopefully bishop b6 is not a big deal in this position. If he takes on g4, I get to take on e4 at least. So that's nice. Let's pre-move this capture. Time is about even. He does play bishop b6. All right. Yeah, might be a good move. Kind of looking that way. h3 or g3, keep pushing. Don't know that I really want to take. Knight d7 maybe? Let's go knight d7. Hopefully that doesn't lose immediately. I don't think it does. I'm trying to get this bishop out of there. I want that bishop gone. Plays a5. Okay. Well, at least now I get to take. Let's play g3. Probably now he'll lock it up. Yep. Let's go bishop f8. Just defend d6. So now the position is locked up. His king is always going to be a factor. But I am down a pawn. Let's go here. Hit that knight. He can take on f7 now, though, and I'd have to take back with the queen. If king takes, there's knight c7, which I don't think I'd like to allow. Let's go here. Still trying to attack that knight. Okay, maybe now I can take this way. I know all the King's Indian players out there are probably cringing right now. Like, John, what are you doing playing this way? Let's go here. I don't know about this endgame, though. Take, knight takes b7. That's looking bad for me. It's going to be a time scramble, though. He can play b5 here. b5 would be strong, I think. He's going to trade. Okay, maybe not so bad. Possibly not so bad. Get bishop d4 in. Need to get my knight free. Got to get that knight out somehow. Knight g6. Let's do that. I'm going to let him take, but hopefully I can get e5 for my own piece. Oh, I flagged him. All right, so a very messy victory. Something went off in the way that I executed that attack. I suspect that rook f7 was not a good move. I don't know the theory in this position. So I was trying to play a prophylactic move to guard the 7th rank and allow for that bishop f8 move. But in view of what happened, I think rook f7 is bad. Let's just double check with the computer real quick. It's well known that in the King's Indian, the engines actually are not so useful. So it gives like +1 to white here, but that's true for a lot of mainline King's Indian positions. When you add in the engine, it gives a huge advantage to white. It likes that central play, that central space advantage that white often has, and on the queen side too. I'm not going to analyze this game because of time constraints, but it was a wild one. So rook takes a7 is playable here. Rook takes a7, bishop takes d7, rook takes d7, bishop takes a7, b6. Okay, trying to trap the bishop. That line flashed across my mind, but I didn't trust it, so I didn't go for it. Very wild game, though. Okay, so trying to bust out of my opening shell here, playing some new lines, and not in exemplary fashion. Certainly, if you're practicing new openings, 3-minute games are not the way to go about it, but just for the purposes of getting in a few fast games and trying to have a little bit of fun too, I thought this would be a nice way to do it. I'll try to play some of these openings in longer games too, though, 15-minute games and such. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.